Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.wordpress.com, back again with another Sunday scoring project, and this time it's a block card, but it's a very dinky little block card. And there's actually a reason for that, and that's because most of the block card patterns I've seen use 12 by 12 paper, which is great because you end up with a sort of 6 by 4 inch card. But I didn't have any 12 by 12 paper in the new In Colours, which is what I decided I wanted to use, because I wanted to use the Painter's Palette DSP. So here's the basic card, very straightforward, and as you can see I've used Barnyard Babies, which is this set here, which has been around quite a long time, but it's great. It's really good for stuff, new arrivals, and there's some quite nice little stuff sayings like, you know, hugs and kisses, and, you know, Feliz Navidad, you know, hope your day is just ducky, just nice fun things. So that's the card. I've done it so that it actually stands up like so, and I've decorated the blocks on the top. You can, if you want, decorate it like so. Can you see? Yeah, and that's fine. It's personal choice. I just decided that I wanted to have the little blocks on the top as well. I thought I might add some extra decoration afterwards. And I've also used the new, a lot of people would really disappointed to see the word window punch go, but this is the new classic label punch, which is just as useful as the old one was, although it is obviously a slightly different size. But actually, just for comparison, I'll just show you actually. So that's the word window, and you can see the new classic label is that little bit longer with those chevrons on the top, but it's the same width. So for those stamp sets you've got that used to fit in the word window punch, then if you haven't got a word window punch, the one to get is the new classic label, that is slightly bigger. Okay, so without further ado, then let's get on with the project. So you're going to need your trimmer, and you're going to need the extender arm out, and you're going to use a piece of card which is 3 3/4 inches by 10.5 inches, and you're going to do some partial scoring. You will see some cards where they've scored all the way down. I haven't, and the reason is I made one with all the scoring, and I found it just made it a little bit floppy. Even if you don't crease them all the way down, it somehow, you know, it loses a bit of stability. So I haven't done that. And in terms of the scoring, then the first thing we're going to do is line it up at 1 1/4 inches, and the scoring I'm going to actually give you in centimetres, and the reason is that this is centimetres that's on the top ruler, but it is multiples of 1 1/4 inches. So the first score at 1 1/4 inches is down to 3.2, which is 1 1/4 inches. At 2.5, you're going to come down to 6.4 centimetres, so 2.5 inches. At 3 3/4, you're going to score top to bottom. And at 5 inches, you're going to score top to bottom. Then at 6 1/4 inches, you're now coming back, so you're going to be scoring down to 6.4 again. At 7.5 inches, you're going to score down to 3.2. Then at 8 3/4, another full score, and at 10 inches, another full score. And that gives you your little tab that you're going to use to attach it. Now rotate your card, and you're going to line it up at 1 1/4 inches on the right hand side here. And now we're going to do our cutting. So with your scoring blade up at the top, and you're going to come from the 3.2, yeah, this one here, all the way across. So 3.2 all the way down to 19. I'm going to turn it again, and at 2.5 inches you're going to do this middle one. So that's from about 17 down to it's about 20.2. Okay, so having done all your scoring and cutting, that can go away now. And you're now going to cut some sections. So with the card, with those scores towards you, just cut out that very middle square, just cut down 2 score lines, and then cut down each of those. So you end up with a piece of card like so. Now you can do some burnishing. Now if ever you get any, you can see there's a few little stuff, and looks like my blade just needs replacing, or my trap needs clearing out. I'm just using a sanding block here. So a nail sanding block is fine, and it just takes off those raggedy edges and just neatens it up a little bit. Okay, so once you've scored, fold and burnish. And then the important ones are these ones here that make the base. So, okay. So now the best thing to do is just decide how you're going to decorate. And as I said, you could have it either that way or you could have it that way. It isn't too bad that you've got the join on the back here, so I tend to use the front like so. And for ease, it's probably easier for you to do the sticking of the papers on while it's still flat. So all I've done is I've just cut some 1-inch squares of DSP. You could, if you wanted, mat those up on some card. And what I would do then is, let's just try it. I would say if you go slightly smaller than 1 1/4 inches, so if you go to 1 1/8, and that would just give a nice little mat for your block, which would sit in there. So let's give that a go as well, shall we? So I'm going to use my snail. She says hopefully, if everything hasn't run out. And there you go. So you see the block there, and actually I'm going to do that with all of those because I'm really quite pleased with that. This is what happens sometimes when you're in the middle of a project. You suddenly think, actually, do you know what? It just needs that little bit extra. And I do think that matting and layering just gives you just a lovely effect. I've done the card first before the DSP. Not always a good plan. And this is the new Painter's Palette DSP, which has got, I wasn't sure about it at first, but I've seen quite a few projects with it, and it is definitely growing on me. And the sort of vibrant colours that you've got are really lovely. So I'll need to cut myself some more bits of card. So again, we're going to just using my stamping trimmer and some scrap card that I've got from when I was doing making my sample. In fact, actually, I was actually recording my first video, and my son decided to come downstairs, start talking to me, realised I was videoing, which was great. He stopped talking, so then went in the shower. Now my craft room backs onto our bathroom, and so when somebody's in the shower, well, guess what? You get to hear the shower noises instead. So I decided it's probably best to start again. So hence I've kind of not perhaps being quite as organised as usual, as all my sample bits that I'd got ready to use, I used on video number 1, although which actually was video number 2, because in fact I had made a mistake in my first video as well. So not a great day really, but it happens. So I find I don't worry about it. So having done those ones. You can leave it as it is. I'm going to put some more panels just on the top here, but I'm just going to do the plain DSP there. And that's the beauty of using snail. You can see I just mis-stuck that for a moment, but by using snail, it just gives you, it holds firm right at the start till you've really adhered it. Okay, so there we go. There's our basic card. So we need to put some adhesive down the edge here, and in this instance I'm going to use Fuse because it's card to card, and because of the way this card is, you can actually fold that flap over and fold it in half and just line it up. Okay, and then these flaps here, if you just fold them over, there you go, and there's your basic card, which will then pop up. So there's our basic card. Now what we're going to do is do our stamping, and I've chosen a couple of other fun animals from the Barnyard Babies set. So I've chosen the little hog because I just think he's very, very sweet. So there's our little hog, and of course therefore I'm going to be saying hogs and kisses. So I'm coming in with my 1 1¼ inch punch, and cut out my little hog, and he's going to come up here. And I'm going to put my hogs and kisses down at the bottom there. And you could do that with another circle punch if you wanted to, or we could if I'd stamped it perhaps further in. So let's give that a go. There's the hogs and kisses, and then 1 3/8 punch just on a scrap of card. Just punch out a couple of circles. Just layer that up, and this just gives a nice little narrow border. So we can have our hogs and kisses in that one there, and then repeat again with our actual little hog, and then just come in with a dimensional here, add a little bit of layering. And in fact I might actually, I've put some glue on the back of that, but I think I might actually use a dimensional for that as well. The great thing about dimensionals is they are really good adhesive, and so they actually work well. Now looking at that Hogs and Kisses is actually a little bit, what I would call a little bit bland. Having done it in the circle, it needs just a touch more. So I'm actually going to come in, and there's a number of little accents in here, little grass ones. So I'm actually going to come in and use the little rosette. So let's just check that out. And I've made a complete mess of that, so that's why you don't stamp when something is already raised up. So just come in with some Whisper White. And a 1/4 inch punch, there we go, that's better. And I think this is why it's important that I do let you see when I make a mistake on these things. It's important that, you know, we're not perfect. I'm a crafter just like you. I make mistakes, I change my mind. And whilst these tutorials are designed to show you how to do things, I hope people appreciate that it's also about learning. And if you see me doing it perfectly and then you make a mistake, then you're going to think that actually, you know, it's got to be perfect all the time, and it hasn't. And you can easily, there we go, I've decided I'm going to put that one flat after all. There we go, just pop that in. Yeah. Anyway, so here we go, back to our card. There's my original one in the Peekaboo Peach, and here's the new one in the Sweet Sugar Plum. So I hope you've enjoyed. Variations on the way as well. They're great fun, they fold flat, and I hope you've enjoyed making with me. Take care now, bye bye.